This is Big Jerry Clark, host of the Storytime with Legendary Jerry podcast, and we sit down with Mr. J. Prince. We talk about, of course, the Drake Pusha T beef, but we also talk about his rise in the entertainment industry, from Rap-A-Lot Records to being a boxing manager and promoter, to him owning cattle. That's right, J. Prince owns cattle. So we talk about all that, everything in between, and how he paved the way for Southern hip-hop. Storytime with Legendary Jerry. As you can see, Jamie Page.
Yes.
When I first found out when J. Prince was put on the calendar for the Storytime with Legendary Jerry podcast, now I'm excited about all the fucking interviews we do. But this one right here is one that I've been waiting on for so many reasons, Jamie. Because with me coming up in the industry 20 plus years here in the South, that I know that most of the shit that I've experienced and most of the shit that I've done and the labels that I work for and work with and that I've watched rise, that this gentleman right here paved the fucking way. And when I mean this is the perfect title for this book, because when his name comes up, I don't care in what aspect or what lane it comes up, this is the first word that comes when you mention. I'm gonna date myself now. When I first met him, he was Lil J. But now he's James Prince, J. Prince. But this is really the first word that comes up outside of he's a stand-up dude. Ladies and gentlemen, this week's episode of Storytime with Legendary Jerry, we have Mr. James Prince.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Did I do you justice, man?
What an introduction.
Man.
Yeah, what an introduction.
No, thank you. Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying thank you for being here on this show.
Right.
But let me tell you something. I want to, before we get into the book and J. Prince, the man and professionally, let me just say this. Every time I talk to anybody from Houston, from the 713, old, young, in between, they speak so highly of you, brother, and what you've done in that community.
Yeah.
That before we started anything with the book, anything, I just wanted to talk about what you've done in not just Fifth Ward, but for the city of Houston, specifically the Black community, bro. What you've done, I know that's got to make you feel proud because you claim Houston champions you. That's your motherfucking city, bro. And
Yeah.
you're here, and I'm gonna say it again, old, young, anybody I talk to, the respect and the high praise that they have for you is really, really is unbelievable, man. And I know as much as in your heart, as much as you champion, as much as you, people can call it philanthropy or whatever, but whatever, you really love Houston, brother.
Oh, yeah.
And you do a lot in that community, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You're right. I mean, it's unending love between me and Houston.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? I'm from Fifth Ward. That's one of the hoods that's in Houston, one of the ghettos that's in Houston. And I know it's ghettos all around the world, so it's Fifth Wards all around the world. But Houston has been good to me as a whole, even though the alphabet boys that's in Houston tried to destroy me.
Boy, hey.
You know, God has protected me in Houston.
Hey. And they did try.
Yeah.
And it was funny because off camera I was talking to somebody from knowing that, you know, like you say, the alphabet boys are trying to destroy your legacy and bring you down, and for you to still persevere and still make it unscathed. Because a lot of us can't say, I mean, I did a little fair bit. I'm not even unscathed. They came at you on some, you know, whatever it may be, BS, and you're still giving back to that community, still rolling. I just want to, just from man to man, from brother to brother, man, I want to say thank you, man, for everything you do in the community out there in Houston.
Yeah.
And I respect any gentleman that does that, any black man that does that in their town, their hometown.
Yeah.
It's much love, bro.
You know, my philosophy is this. You know, I couldn't be who I am if it wasn't for Fifth Ward, you know, the community in Houston. And, you know, I think a lot of ball players, basketball, football, all these guys that make it from a place out of a hood and disown the very place that helped shape and mold, their character and who they had became today is like a slap in the face.
It sure
You know
is.
what I mean? So, when the Alphabet Boys, for example, one of the main things they wanted me to do is disown where I'm from and not affiliate in the hood. In other words, don't go back. Disown that and we good with you. And my answer and statement to them is I'd rather be dead. Yeah, so I feel that strongly.
Why do you think that is, though? Why do you think, people do disassociate themselves with their hood when, in fact, you should represent where you came from?
Yeah, well, you should. I think a lot of them do it out of fear. You know what I mean? They extended the invitation to me to be that way, and, I just couldn't. So you have a combination of fear. You have a combination of, not caring or not loving where you came from. And your first idea when you make it is, I got to get away from here.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't want to help nobody get out of here. I don't want to contribute. I just want to be free. So it become a I situation.
And we want to thank you for not taking on that approach, bro.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to jump into a quick story, J-Man. We on Storytime with Legendary Jerry, so I have plenty of stories. Let me tell you the time that I really saw the reach of on the respect level that you have. I was working for, I'm gonna see if your memory, if you jog your memory. I was working for Relativity Ruthless back in the 90s. And Bone Thugs was beefing with rap-a-lot artist Do or Die.
Yeah.
So the beef was squashed. We had an incident out in L.A. where the beef was squashed, but then one of the members of Bone and their security got the beef back going on some silly shit. I'm sure they admit it to this day. Me working for the label, I set up a show. After the beef had got reignited with Bone Thugs. So the promoter had hit me and I worked out all the details. So when they told us who was on the show, it was like Bone Thugs with it was damn near the whole Rap-A-Lot roster. It was Do or Die, it was Scarface, So of course, Bone pulls out. You know who got fucking sued because of that?
Who that?
Me.
Is that right?
Oh
man.
Because they said that Jay Prince put in a courtesy call and said that just be careful, because you just never in your words, you just never know what may happen.
Yeah, I kind of remember that situation. I think a lot of people was mad at Bone them about reuniting that thing in L.A.
Because it had been squashed.
Yeah.
Is that how y'all met? Was that the first?
No, actually, perfect lead into another story. I worked in the late 90s. I worked for EMI Music on the distribution end, and one of the labels up under us was Virgin, and Rap-A-Lot Records was distributed through Virgin. And I remember we had, I don't know if it was a label corporate retreat or whatever, but it was all the labels and a lot of the bigger artists on there. And I had always heard about Lil J Prince, I always heard, but as far as meeting him, especially after the incident with being sued because Bone pulled out with me working for the label. But when I finally met him, and I'm not just saying this because he's here, but, he can strike a lot of fear. And when I met him, just like he is now, he had great energy. He had a great spirit. And I was just kind of like, damn, this is the dude that, this is the guy they talking about. And I met him. And I think the guy, was it Mike Mack? I think it was that?
Mike Mack, yeah.
He was like vice president of Urban, I believe.
Right.
So when I met you, I was like, wow, like this dude, the conversation, it might have been short, but it was, like I say, I'm big into energy and people's spirit, and your energy and spirit was that of, on some cool shit. And, it's like this. And all of us in this room could say, if you just live life with a lot of respect, like your book, and don't cross people, it can be great. It can be great.
That's right.
So, but that's just another story that how when I first met him was when I worked at EMI, and Virgin was one of the labels and Rap-A-Lot was on there.
It's a true story.
Yeah.
So he be spitting them out. So all the stories. I said, you have all the stories.
Yeah, no, that's a true story.
This book right here, I told you off camera, is long overdue, bro. Congratulations, first of all, on this book,
Appreciate it,
The
bro.
Art and Science of Respect. How long ago did you start writing this, and to finally see this come to fruition like this? What does this mean to you?
Well, I started writing on it in 2014, and
Okay.
it means the world to me because this is my biography. This is my life. You know, this is my wins, my losses, everything in between. You know, I shared a lot of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding in this book, blueprints, inspiration, my faith. You know, everything to help my fellow men and women, whoever read this book. I want them to leave inspired and leave with something more than what they came with. Because if I had a piece of literature like this when I first started,
You would have avoided a lot of the pitfalls and bumps in the road.
and made 100 more million. Yeah, so it's that type of situation, you know, and it's that type of wisdom that's in this book that one gonna receive when they read it.
For anybody that, let's just say that there's someone that wants to get into the music industry or the entertainment industry, because you're more than just music, and we're going to get on that in a minute. What do you want them to take from this? Like you just mentioned a blueprint a minute ago. Let's just say that I have no idea about the entertainment industry or music per se. What is it when I read this? Is there a certain chapter or some things that you specifically say as far as mapping out certain ways and certain things that you need to do to be successful?
Oh yeah. It's hard to know if one gonna be successful, but what this book is gonna give you is a foundation and a roadmap on how to protect yourself and get there. You know what I mean? Whether you have the gift to be successful remains. You know what I mean? You know, the public and different people have to embrace you. But if you can get there, this is going to teach you how to keep that.
Man,
that
I'm
you
so
get.
fucking excited about this, man.
I mean, obviously, the bottom line is the whole respect aspect of it, which is in the title, and even Drake mentions in the foreword about, you know, coming to Houston. It was like a movie, and everyone respected you, and that's like one thing that stands out. Like even Jerry said before. So, I mean, that, like, how do you even begin to kind of teach someone that, you know, like is that all in this book as well?
Oh yeah. And for those that's listening, you know, respect, you know, begins with giving it.
You damn
You know
right.
what I mean? You have to give it, you know what I mean? And then you can demand it, you know, in return, or, you know, get away from a place that won't, you know, reciprocate that same respect you're giving. And it also ties into humility, you know what I mean? Being a humble person and different things like that, you know, go along with respect as well.
Do you think that's a hard thing to do in the industry, is be humble?
Well, it depends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
depends because it's a time and a place for everything. You know what I mean? And sometimes one won't embrace humility or they'll take it for weakness. And you have to have different gears.
Yeah, you damn
You know
right.
what I mean? That you can shift out of
Right.
to accommodate.
How you feel about the state of the rap game and hip hop right now? Because this is actually a twofold question. Because I know you pulled back from the music some years ago, and I know I had a moment after all the years that I spent in this industry that there were things happening that made me pull back. Where I was like, maybe my love affair with this industry has kind of waned a little bit.
Yeah.
But what you feel as far as the overall state of the industry and the rap hip hop? Like how do you feel? You feel it's healthy, or what's your take on it?
Well, I think I love their hustle. I love the youth hustle and what they're doing. You know what I mean? I think they have embraced that foundation that we laid, that independent state of mind, and I see them taking it, you know, to another level. I see more people want to be, you know, entrepreneurs and what, you know, myself,
And watch you do.
P. Yeah.
You laid that,
They're
foundation.
More, but on the other hand, you know, there's some weaknesses, and you know, the word respect is diminishing, and also I'm witnessing a lot of pill popping taking place, which a lot of drug abuse, and which adds up to self-destructing. So I think if they can balance some of them things, I love what they're doing.
So is that a bigger problem now than it was back in the day? Because I'm sure back in the day, of course, people were doing drugs and alcohol, but
niggas was tooting a little powder.
but it's more visible now.
Yeah, I think it's at an all-time high.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think more people are ODing from it than they were back in the day and everything.
Wow.
So is that, to come back around, for you to pull, like, kind of pump the brakes on the industry a little bit as far as from the label perspective? Is that some of the things that came into play where you was like, you know what, like I just mentioned about myself, as far as just some of the reasons we got into it, and then as we've been in it for so long, that we be like, you know what, this shit right here, I need to, before,
Yeah. No, for me, I tapped into boxing. Boxing was my first love before music. So I found a way to go right back into, my first love situation. I got distracted with music for boxing. So, me, and I had a little help as well. I can't leave out the alphabet, boys.
Well, you gonna make sure they get their
Yeah. They was on
but they've been fucking with you for a long motherfucking time.
Oh man, I got to give them the business.
And you had some, and we go stick to that for a minute. You had some high profile people come out in your support, and that lets you once again let people know the type of person you are, because Maxine Waters, a lot of other high profile politicians came out like, yo, y'all fucking with this man, and this man is really a stand-up dude. Like we just mentioned, you do a lot in the community. Why are y'all fucking with this?
Yeah.
Fucking with this man, I should say, because he's doing everything that an upstanding U.S. citizen is doing, but they just kept fucking with you to it. And I see, and I know I'm jumping all around, but I see that you start exposing a couple those agents that was fucking with you.
Now we done that the whole way. You know what I mean?
Okay.
One thing, that, and I wrote about this in the book. You can't tuck your tail and run away when these officers are abusing their authority. You have to put the spotlight on them. You have to let them know, okay, I'm finna stand up against you on this one, and I'm gonna put the spotlight and let the world know this is what's going on. So on all my intros, if you recall, I had conversations about what I was going through with the police department, and which ultimately led to them trying to put a hit out on me. You know what I mean? They want to see me dead. And it's so deep when you think about it, because what I really figured out is they didn't like my mind. You know what I mean?
And a black man with a strong mind is a boy.
Yeah, just like those that came before us. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, all of them.
Let me, and I know Jamie, I'm cutting her off again because I'm just gonna be real. I'm excited to have you here, and I've had these questions in my mind because, like I say, the times that I met you before, it was just like strictly me working for the label, whatever. So, Jamie, you just gotta excuse me. I know you got a lot of questions as well.
I know, it's all good.
Jay Prince, what was that? You've had a lot of successes, a lot. What was that one artist that fell through the cracks that you had the opportunity to sign a rap a lot or man? Who was that one artist that you look back and be like, boy, look at this shit?
Vanilla Ice.
Damn.
Yeah, Vanilla Ice.
Wow, I wasn't expecting that. Woo.
Yeah.
Vanilla Ice.
Yeah, Vanilla Ice.
So when he was living in Dallas,
he came to Houston,
uh-huh,
and I watched him on stage at a club. I took him back to my studio, and he stayed out there with me for a week.
Damn.
If not 2. And I told my partner, I say, sign this dude. I like him.
Who's your partner? So we can
Cliff Blogger.
Cliff.
You know what I mean?
Cliff.
He dropped the ball.
You dropped the ball, Cliff.
Yeah, Cliff didn't sign him. He didn't like him.
Wow.
So I heard the song on the radio. I got excited. I'm like, whoa, I got one. Ice, Ice, baby.
You said, this publisher money about to be so incredible on it. Yeah. And that was... So that's the one, Vanilla Ice, that's the one that out of all that came through over the years.
Also Destiny Child. You know what I mean? Matthew brought them to me when they was like 8, 9 years old.
Okay, so before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when they was, they was kids.
But in your defense on that one, when you're around 8, it's kind of
Yeah,
hard to.
I didn't want them to
Yeah,
be
I was gonna
around.
say now. Okay, so the
That
Vanilla Ice
That's
one,
a
environment,
different
yeah, I can
situation.
take the
Yeah.
Vanilla Ice one, but
Yeah.
the Destiny's Child one,
Yeah.
that's or whatever their name
Matthew
was.
always trying to rub that in my face.
What's up, Matthew? No, he was on the show.
He
was on the
was.
show a few weeks ago, and we
Yeah.
like yourself, very knowledgeable, man.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Jamie, I've been cutting you off, but go ahead.
Well, no, along those lines, letting him drop through the cracks. So when Drake came along, your son
Yeah.
discovered him. Did you think he was going to be as big as he is now?
No, I didn't. When he brought Drake to me and played Drake, I was like, man, you like this? This man singing all over the place. What do you like this? And he's like, Dad, it's gonna be this the new
Just
sound.
listen to me, Daddy.
You know what I mean?
Just
This
listen,
the
Daddy.
hit. Just ride with me on this one. And I kept disputing it with him, and he held his position. He held his ground. Like this, and he said he buzzing. You know what I mean? He hit me with the buzzword, and I've been teaching him about a buzz.
Yeah, because
around the
us
office
being in the
forever.
South, we had to create our own buzz because we
Right.
was our own. Yeah.
Right. So when he spoke that word to me, I'm like, whoa. And I called Canada and checked, and it was true. He was buzzing, and from there, I got behind it, and the rest was history. Brought him to America.
Well, that's what's up. I mean, are there moments that you have with your son and you're like,
I'm glad I
you
listened
smile
to
to
your
yourself
ass,
like,
boy.
yeah, I
Yeah.
did that, because you raised him, so it's like,
Yeah. He
you know.
rubbed that in on me all the time. You know what I mean?
But when it's coming from your son, it's
legal.
Yeah, you did. So I want to go back to you mentioned your first love, boxing. For a minute, you had some big fighters.
Yeah.
You were managing Floyd, Mayweather, and a few others. Are you like right now? Are you still heavily entrenched in that, or you? How is that?
Yeah.
And some
No,
of the boxers
still-
that you have now. Did you
I
have? You
still
didn't have
have,
Antonio. You didn't have Antonio Tarver.
No, I was working with Roy Jones.
Okay,
at the
that's
time.
right, with Roy.
Yeah.
And who were some of the other boxers you had? Because you
Floyd
sound just
Mayweather.
how you sound just as passionate about the boxing as you are about the music.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But Floyd Mayweather, Winky Wright, Sugar Shane Mosley, Brian Jennings, Diego Corrales.
Mm-hmm.
I work with some of the best of them.
Who you excited right now that's in the fold that you excited that you feel has the potential to be that next big boxer?
We just signed our silver medalist, the United States silver medalist,
Okay.
Shakur Stevenson. And
He was silver in Beijing.
right,
Okay.
right. We got big things set for him, along with Ricardo. What is this guy's name? Ricardo.
Okay.
I don't know his last name, but
But for
he's
you to
like
sign him, he
14
definitely
and
has
yeah.
that potential. Okay.
Yeah, beautiful
Okay.
fighter.
Now I'm a with me infusing my 20 plus years in this industry. Excuse me. I'm going to go back to a time when it seemed like a triumvirate of like a closeness between. It seemed like it was you, Suge, and
Irv.
Irv Gotti. What is your relationship with them now? Is it still on the up and up? Is it still cool, or is it kind of I'm
Yeah.
gonna do my thing? Because at one point I don't know how many years ago it was, but it seemed like you all were kind of,
Yeah.
I don't want to use the word clicked up, but y'all were
Yeah.
very, very close. How is that now?
Yeah, well, me and Irv we still super tight.
Okay.
Of course, Suge is, you know what I mean, where he's at. But even
Yeah.
before he got there, I wasn't feeling as good about him as I feel about Irv because,
Okay.
he crossed the line and was trying to get at Drake. So, I don't feel that well about him, free or locked up.
Yeah.
But, we had a movement that we were trying to put together that we wanted to start our own black-owned independent company.
I remember.
And,
I remember.
And all of us was
distribution
hit.
arm, correct?
Yeah, distribution. Yeah, and all of us was hit by the Alphabet Boys at the same time.
You know what? I didn't. Now that you said that,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even realize of the timing of that.
Yeah.
Because Irv had to go through his situation, and then Suge, and then yourself. How do you think that could have changed the music industry having a black-owned distribution? Because if you've been in the industry and you know anything about it, you know how powerful the distribution arm is.
Right.
You all were going to, in essence, change the game.
Yeah, we could have helped our people in a major way, you know what I mean, without them being tied up in a lot of the politics and different things that go along with the industry. And that's what we was after. And, you know, I don't think they wanted that to come to fruition.
Of course not.
Wow.
Of course not.
Wow.
I mean, that's with anything that's going on right now. I mean,
Because
like we said before.
Because a black-owned distribution arm would have changed the face of everything on how everybody moves. And we could have kept a lot of stuff, like a lot of the problems that we see now that go on, like you say, the politics that go on and the pimp moves and the pimp contracts. It would have been, a lot of it would have been subsided if something like this venture would have came to. This book right here, always, we're not done, but I'm gonna plug this book as much, and I'm spitting, I'm excited. You see stuff coming out my mouth and shit. This book right here, I got to make sure that everybody, if you're watching this show, if you're listening on the podcast, if you're watching it on YouTube, please, June 22nd.
June 22nd.
Yeah,
June 22nd. June 22nd. Please make sure you go out and get The Art and Science of Respect. But I'm gonna go back around to some artists that've been on rap a lot, and you tell me, how, like, well, let me say this. Whatever happened to Big Mike?
Big Mike. You know,
Jamie, do you know who Big Mike is? No. Jamie from
Ghetto Boys.
Let me before you.
That's close.
I was a Ghetto Boy fan.
You had her.
He was a Ghetto Boy before.
You had her shook the fuck up. She was like, look, I'm putting on blast. Look, she turning red. Look at her red. She was like, Jerry. I said, man, will you chill? This is one of the coolest, bro. Look at that. I'm putting on Front Street. You had her shook, bro. She didn't even.
Don't believe the hype, Jamie. I'm not that way.
Jay Prince, you had her shook, dog.
He said, what are you going to ask him? I said, nothing.
Yeah, I was like, damn. I said, she usually amped about all the guests. When I said, come on, Jamie.
I was so excited.
But what did I say? Straight up, what did I say about him, Jamie?
What?
I said, be cool. What did I say? I said, he's one of the coolest, most stand-up dudes.
Yeah. I don't know why they try to make me
look at
like
this.
a boogeyman or something, you know.
But it's funny because, when I do read articles and listen to other podcasts and, people mention you, of course, they always mention the whole respect thing. But a word that comes up a lot is also kind of like strong arm or bully. Do you feel like you're a industry bully?
I haven't seen bully. I've seen the word fear, but I don't think you more pulling up, but I don't think I've seen bully. I've seen fear.
Well, I think, it's like the whole topic of coming along with like everything that's going on with Drake and Pusha, and then it's like your name comes up and the whole strong arm thing. So do you feel like that's, you put fear, like fear? We'll use fear. Do you feel like you put fear?
I don't feel like I do. You know what I mean? And I think it's a terrible thing to characterize me as that way, as a person that abuses power, abuses authority, or impose a will on somebody that's a bully tactic. You know what I mean? I wouldn't do that. Now, I am a stand-up guy, meaning I will deal with a situation if I have
handling
to.
it accordingly.
Well, that's, I mean, from my perspective, that's how I look at it. Like, you're this godfather, leader type of person that's looking out for everybody. Because, like, even the situation with, let's go back to Puffy and Biggie, when you told him not to go out, and he did, and then the situation happened, like, you potentially could have saved his life.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what did that feel like, knowing you told him not to go, and then he goes, and then
he was
no
there.
Longer here.
He was there already. My advice was to
get
be
up
careful or get up out of there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I was tuned into the streets and I understood the possibilities. And my thing was, why even allow it be a possibility? Definitely in L.A. You know what I mean? I understand real clearly the seriousness of what goes on out there.
Yeah.
Whole different culture.
But Jamie, you don't have to feel that way. You know what I mean? I'm not.
I'm good.
You can feel my spirit.
Look at now she cool. Yeah. Now back to the business. Now with me being in the industry, I've heard a lot of stories about people signing these fugazi ass fuck contracts. But now I can say this: Jay Prince, I haven't heard that about artists that, whether they was with you a short period of time, whether they were a long period of time, like really. And you might, and I've been entrenched in the game.
Yeah,
I know you have to take pride in that as well. Is that, you're a stand-up fair person, and also abysm, because I've never, and that's hard for me. I mean, hey, without naming names, I mean, we can go through, label owners, what produce, whatever, but I've heard a lot of that over the years.
Yeah.
With a lot of different artists and whoever they were signed to. But, I was driving and I was like, it hit me. I was like, this out of all, and you've had a lot of artists come through the Rap-A-Lot family, and I just ain't heard them stories, man. I ain't heard them.
I mean, I have. I've heard some stories where
I'm sure
artists,
you have. Because
them
motherfuckers ain't never happy.
Yeah,
Let me stop it. All you artists out there.
Yeah. But I mean, sometimes they will lie. You know what I mean? And I've heard different lies that was told on me where artists is concerned. But, my thing and the way I try to live is to not allow no man to punk me where my word is concerned. If I make a deal with you, I'm going to honor that deal I made. Now, if I don't want to go above and beyond what we agreed on, then that's my right. Mm-hmm. But, I don't want a man on this planet to say he took nothing from me, because I don't like the feeling. I ain't going to let nobody take nothing from me. Mm-hmm. So, you know what I mean? That's what respect is, giving it and then demanding it. Mm-hmm. So, that's the way it is with me.
It should be like that across the board, though. Now, once again, I'm going to go back to when I worked for Relativity. Of course, Suave House was one of the labels that was up under our umbrella. I remember back in the 90s with Suave House and Rap-A-Lot, per se, they said that there was some beef. And I was in Houston, and, I remember the label people telling me, it's just... it's a little uneasy right now between Suave House and Rap-A-Lot. I know you laugh. Jay Prince, I've been around this shit for a while. Yeah. I've been in the mix for years, brother.
He's falling out over that one.
Yeah. And I remember that, Suave House was based right there in Houston as well as Rap-A-Lot.
Right.
But then, shout out to Tony Draper.
Yeah, that's my man. That's my friend.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and I love Draper. But at that time, next thing I know, Suave House and Tony Draper moved to Atlanta. Yeah. And you know what the word was from the label.
Everybody was saying Houston was too small for both of us.
Jay Prince, you ain't drive Suave House.
I heard some rumors.
Hey, man, you ain't driving them out of Houston, did you, dog?
No, I wouldn't do that to Drake. That's my friend, you know what I mean?
But friend, foe, or not, was it, I mean, in those days, and like I said, I worked for the label, and I just remember the little... it was like a little slight warning that, hey, you out there in Houston with Ball and G, you just might want to keep your eyes open.
Actually, Drake created his movement in Memphis.
Yeah,
so
with Ball, G, and Thielen from Memphis. But Suave House was located in the 713 right there off, I think it was Southwest Freeway.
Right.
Something like that, yeah.
Draper came to me when he was 17. And speaking of Big Mike, Draper is who brought Big Mike to me.
Oh, wow. See, I never knew that.
So Draper was a student of mine. You know what I mean? I gave Draper the game, and Draper created a movement over there.
Yeah.
Now, it was a time he and I had a disagreement.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm not here to lie. We did have a disagreement.
But sometimes family has disagreements.
We smoothed it out, man, so quick and moved on until...
Good. That's real grown man shit.
Yeah.
Shout out once again to Tony Draper. He'll be coming on the show one day soon. Speaking of Draper, Suave House, all the other labels, Master P, Baby and Slim, do they ever just come to you? I mean, because like I said at the beginning of the show, you paved the way for so many labels, man, to be able to say, you know what? I can do this shit. I can do it independently. We're from the South. We ain't from New York. We ain't from L.A. We can do this shit. Do they ever come to you and say, you know what, man? Hey, thanks, bro. Thanks for paving the way.
Yeah, they have. They have thanked me publicly, even on my Instagram and different things. I play different clips from each of those guys saluting, you know what I mean, what I meant for them, how I inspired them. And, I'm proud of all of them. They inspire me. They motivate me. So there's a mutual respect, you know what I mean, where all of us are concerned. Myself and Cash Money, we just have some unfinished business that we have to get straight.
That was my next question.
With Birdman?
Yeah. Well, the whole, I don't just say Birdman.
Yeah,
the
because
whole thing.
With Wayne.
Yeah. And we're progressing. As you know, Lil Wayne just got his deal solidified.
Today, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It happened before today, but
I mean,
y'all
yeah, it
just,
just
knowing
yeah,
about
yeah.
it. But I'm next in line. My son next in line. So things are moving on good with Universal.
So they're gonna have to cut a check, Jay Prince,
Yeah,
and
rightfully so.
yeah, because like you said, it's business
Yeah,
at the end of the day. So that'll be cleared up, and then that relationship, because like I say, these are cats that you paved the way for. So from a respect level, it's just about handling business.
yeah.
So I saw you. This is totally off. Just from following your press run and watching you on social media, I saw you. You ran into Colin Kaepernick.
Oh yeah.
What
Yeah.
what was that? What was that conversation like? Because
Oh,
I
man,
have mad respect for that brother.
Yeah, I inspired the brother, and I gave him some words of wisdom that Larry Hoover gave me the last time I visited him in the penitentiary. And that's a man that had, got all them life sentences. But he had 100 years at the time and had done like 20-some years. And he told me, he said, whatever you do, don't stop swinging at him. You know what I mean? He said, don't stop swinging at him. And that was real powerful for me because I was right in the midst of the storm when he encouraged me at the time. So I said to my brother Collins the other day, I said, hey, man, don't stop swinging at him. Don't quit. You know what I mean? And he and I had a beautiful conversation about doing some things moving forward.
Okay, good.
And
good deal.
I'm going to help him.
Good. Yeah. And he deserves that. Speaking of Larry Hoover, I heard you say he was doing well. I'm from Chicago, so I know.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I'm originally from. So I know the impact that he had on our city. And personally, and I'm going to say this, I think it's unfair what they're doing to him. They have done to him.
Oh, yeah.
But it's good to hear somebody that actually visited him and say that he's good because, as you know, the first thing they try to do is fuck with your mind and break your mind down. But you just said you went and visited him, and he seems to be as best spirits as he can be.
Oh, yeah. No, a true soldier. And I wrote about him, in detail in the book, even what's happening with him as we presently, speak. And he's in good spirit. I mean, he's a trooper. And hopefully we can get our man Trump.
He just pardoned Miss Johnson.
Yeah, pardon the man. Pardon one of our real ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a real soldier to us that can help us.
When I tell you, a real soldier.
Yeah.
And like I said, him and my mom, they're about the same age and they knew a lot of the same people. So I know about that real soldier and the impact that he has had on the city as well. And I think it's time for him to be pardoned. It's time for him to come to the crib.
Yeah, they need him. They talk about these solutions and different things. He is the solution.
Yeah.
To Chicago and that whole movement. So that
say
would
it
be
again,
beautiful.
brother. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Jamie, go ahead. I know you've been itching with questions. And I'm just now she's not scared no more. Now she want it's like double dutch. It's like double dutch when they doing a roast. She just ready to jump in. Go ahead, Jamie.
No, not to. I want to jump back into, of course, everything that's going on, and I'm sure you're kind of tired of talking about the whole Drake and Pusha thing. But what I want to know, what kind of like prompted you to initially call him?
Okay, the disrespect. You know what I mean? When I heard that song, I realized that it crossed the line of just music. You know what I mean? There's a man that disrespect your mother, he disrespect your father, and then he has a friend that was dying that he disrespected him. So, right then I'm like, whoa, this didn't cross the line of music. It's gonna go somewhere else. And there's moments like that where you have to take a stand, or you will witness what happened with Tupac and Biggie. Because when you fertilize disrespect, you fertilize hate, and you harbor it, and you use it as an entertainment in that manner, when people that's around you, they friends and different things, feeling some kind of way, eventually everybody gonna come together. You know what I mean? And then eventually it's gonna be a funeral.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say.
Multiple funerals.
Yeah, it was going to turn violent. Did you have pushback from Drake when?
No, Drake, he and I have a mutual respect. You know what I mean? And Drake know how to think, and I know how to think. So, when two people communicate and you can express yourself in a manner to someone who know how to think and know you right, you know what I mean? Here it is, it then cross music, and then
And got into some personal shit.
yeah, from a business perspective. You know what I mean? It don't make sense from a business perspective as well. And the other thing, it's against everything, we built.
Right.
This is like a moment that we could have easily got caught up in and destroy our movement.
Everything. Yeah.
So, we sharper than that.
Well, and I respect you for that too as well, because I read, this Drake's comeback could have possibly potentially ruined careers.
Oh, no doubt about it.
So, I mean, I respect you for that in that aspect. Like, I don't want to take bread or take away from you feeding your family. So, props to you on that as well, because a lot of times people don't think about that. They don't think about the outcome. They think about right here and now.
Think about the consequences and down the road. It's about, like you just said, it's about the here and now.
Yeah. So, big ups to you on that.
Thanks.
I'm gonna give you a scenario, and you answer it as best as you can. A young James Prince starring Rap-A-Lot in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any of these new niggas out here, new artists that really would make you be like, I want to sign that motherfucker?
I love them amigos. You know what I mean?
Put the A on it. He put the he put the A.
Yeah.
You like the Migos, man?
Yeah,
they
them
dope.
Migos,
Shout out to
yeah.
Migos, Coach K and them.
Yeah, I think they really nice. But my son Jay Prince, he created this Rap-A-Lot New Wave.
Okay.
So we are partners with the YBN movement.
Okay.
You know what I mean? YBN, Lemire, and Almighty J, and I forgot the other one name, but that's us.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's Jay Prince, my youngest son.
The next next generation.
Yeah.
So Migos, is there any? Are they?
Who are you listening to right now? Like who's in your car?
Don't say Teddy Pendergrass, Al Green, because who? Yeah, who?
I'm gonna be real relaxed then. I'll be like, hey.
Good question, Jay. What you listening to, man?
I love them. I listen to the Migos.
Okay.
But my favorite female artist is Sade.
Sade.
Boy,
yeah. You just posted her the other day?
Yeah, I mean, I love Mrs. Sade, so. But I listen to
met her
some
before?
everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he posted it.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So you was just what was that like?
Oh, it was a interesting moment.
Okay.
You know
Were
what
you
I mean?
were you like a real fan that at that moment were you kind of like taken back?
Yeah, I was surprised, and I love the introduction that Drake had made.
I'm sure it was way better than mine that I gave at the beginning of this show.
And I had opportunity to let Jazz know, my son, that I had made him on Sade music.
God dog. Hey,
thought
don't
that
no
was really
kid want to
funny,
hear that.
right?
Don't no kid want to hear that shit, man.
Yeah.
Golly.
Yeah, Sade really laughed at that.
I want to go back to something that you said earlier, and it sticks with me because it's really important to me as well. Is that you mentioned your spirituality and how important that is. And I remember watching it, and I don't know which. I used to watch, sometimes on TV, the big services, and I will always see you. Maybe you could tell who the pastor or preacher was. I used to always see you on the front row. And that just, I'm not saying that going to church, but just to hear you say about your spirituality and how important that is to you,
Right.
Tells people about you and this book and just James Prince the person as far as you, man.
Yeah.
Like that, because that's big with me, my spirituality.
Oh,
and to
yeah.
hear you say that early, you said that when we first started the interview as far as how important that is to you. How has that helped shape you, business, professionally and personally, to always be strong, have a strong foundation spiritually?
Yeah. Speaking of foundation, that is my foundation that I built everything off of. If I hadn't, wasn't a God-fearing man, then, I probably would fear everything that moved.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But believing in him caused me not to have no fear.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? For a lot of things. And I give that to those that came before me, beginning with my mother. I had a 114-year-old great-grandmother that...
And your mother still lives in Fifth Ward?
Yeah,
Okay.
my mother she still live in Houston.
Okay.
So,
You see,
those...
I said Fifth Ward, he just said...
Yeah.
Okay.
My grandmother lived in Fifth Ward.
Okay, all right, cool.
I built her.
Yeah, that's why I said when I talked to people,
Yeah.
I knew it was somebody that said it still lives.
Yeah, my grandmother do. So, I give that credit to them. I think they done a good job helping me develop my spiritual foundation. And everything I ever accomplished in life, I prayed about it before I accomplished it. So
You know, they're saying nothing like a praying mother or praying grandmother, boy.
Yeah.
And got us through a lot of our... Now, look, before we get out of here, I got one question. You know how you hear different rumors. This actually was a good rumor. And I want you to tell me if this is true or not. Somebody said, you know, Jay Prince got a lot of cattle out in Texas. And some of the meat that you eat at these high-end restaurants might... So it said it might be... And I said, what? I was like, hold on. Boxing? Music? I said, this brother, don't tell me he got some Angus beef out there too, man. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
So is that something? Is that a venture of yours as well?
Statement. I do have a lot of cattle.
Okay.
But I don't sell them to restaurants. You know, I have some steroid-free cattle that
We was just talking about
family
that
and
shit.
friends we eat.
Ooh, I was about to disown you.
Hey,
I was about to pass out
before
over
you
it.
came in here, we was talking about. I was saying how proud I'm a proud meat eater, and she's
Right.
vegan.
Okay.
So that's So what I heard is partially correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you get into that? What made you? How did that all come about?
We always wanted a ranch.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Even as a kid. You know, I wrote about it in the book when I was riding to the penitentiary, you know, to visit my uncle with my grandmother. I started dreaming about land in the backseat of that car ride to the penitentiary. And that dream, you know, became a reality when I purchased 1,000+ acre ranch. And it was a business, really. It was a business that was generating, you know, over $250,000 a year selling Black Angus cattle and hay. You know, all of my life I thought in order to make money off of grass, you had to sell weed. But that hay business is a
You hear that
booming
hay business? You out there, flip some of that hay.
business. Yeah.
I mean, is nothing wrong to having multiple revenue streams. But when I first heard it, I was like, word? It just like, I was taken aback because I was like, wow, that's really some neat shit just to watch somebody, like I say, that I watched and I looked up to. And now they, motherfucker said he got some damn cattle. I said,
Yeah.
shit, man. I said, what am I doing? I got to step my shit up,
Half
man.
country boy and half city boy.
There
Hey,
you
man.
go. That's
Cut
the
me
best
down
way
the
to
middle.
be.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, I have one quick question.
Okay.
Besides respect and being humble, what's one other thing that you would tell up and coming artists, you know, that you want to leave with them?
Or business, I mean, from...
Okay, well, the first piece of advice I would give to him that, you know, an artist that's trying to get his career up and rolling is to protect himself by getting a lawyer. You know what I mean? One that respects him and that one that specializes in music. You know what I mean? You don't want to go to a foot doctor and you got a heart problem.
Right.
So anybody that's a lawyer is not qualified to be a music attorney.
Right.
So get that in order. Therefore, whatever you build, then you got a solid foundation.
Amen. Preach, brother. Thank you, man. Thank
My
you. We
pleasure, man.
You see this right here? Everyone that's watching, listening. The art
June
of
22nd.
science of respect, as Ms. Jamie Page just said, June 22nd. Go out and buy 10 copies because I know I'm about 20 and I'm gonna go give them to some young folks so they can read. And I got to be honest, I haven't read as much as when I came from doing my Fed bid. I need to get back to reading some more.
Yeah, I have it in audio.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
there
what
you
I
go.
and I
Right.
have it like I showed you when we first.
Yeah.
I have it on my.
You can listen to it on the way to
my
the studio,
iPhone as well.
the grocery market.
June 22nd.
Yeah.
The art and science of respect. I'm Jerry Clark. You want to give them your
your website
your social
or-
media
Oh yeah,
handles, all that.
I'm J Prince Respect.
That ain't just that simple.
Yeah.
At everything.
yeah.
Respect.
Twitter.
Yeah.
So once again, on Instagram, all my stuff is Big Jerry Clark. Jamie, give yours.
Miss Jamie Page.
And before we sign off, I dedicate every episode of the show to two people. My dad, Mr. Thomas Clark, who passed back in 2016. I love you. I miss you, Pops. And Mr. Shakir Stewart. He meant a lot to my career. A lot to me, both personally and professionally. Those two individuals. Big shout out to Amir Boyd and Julia Beverly. Mr. J. Prince here.
Thank you so
Miss
much.
Jamie Page. Big Jerry Clark.
We
Tune in next Wednesday. And we are signing off.